Long ago, there was a land called Persia. It was a place of brave warriors, wise kings, and magical creatures. The people of Persia loved to tell stories. These stories, called myths, were full of adventure and wonder. They taught about courage, kindness, and the power of good versus evil. Let's explore some of these amazing tales. Rostam is the greatest hero in Persian mythology. He was so strong he could lift a fully grown elephant. Rostam's most famous adventure was defeating a monstrous demon called the White Div. This demon was terrorizing Persia, but Rostam fought bravely and saved his people. Rostam's story teaches us about bravery and using our strength to help others. Simorgh was a magical bird as big as a mountain. She was so wise that she had seen the world change many times over. In one story, Simorgh helps a hero named Zal by rescuing his infant son, Rostam. Simorgh raises Rostam on her nest, teaching him valuable life lessons. Simorgh represents wisdom, guidance, and the power of nature. Zal, a brave warrior with white hair, fell in love with Rudaba, a beautiful princess. But their families were enemies. Despite the challenges, Zal and Rudaba fought for their love and eventually got married. Their story reminds us that love can overcome any obstacle. This myth celebrates the power of love and determination to overcome even the biggest challenges. In the heart of ancient Persia, there once lived a king named Zahhak, whose name became synonymous with terror and oppression. Zahhak was not just any ruler, he was infamous for his cruelty, ruling with an iron fist and a heart untouched by mercy. His palace, grand and imposing, was a symbol of his absolute power, but also of the fear he instilled in the hearts of his people. Under his reign, the land was shrouded in darkness, and the cries of the oppressed echoed through the streets. The people of Persia suffered greatly, their lives overshadowed by the king's insatiable greed and his ruthless enforcers who carried out his every wicked command. But in a humble corner of the city, far from the marble halls of the palace, lived a man named Kaveh. Kaveh was a blacksmith, strong, honest, and respected by his neighbors. Day after day, he toiled at his forge, shaping metal with fire and sweat, providing for his family and community. Yet, as he hammered iron and steel, he also felt the weight of Zahhak's tyranny pressing down on his shoulders. Kaveh saw firsthand how the king's cruelty destroyed families and left children orphaned. He heard the stories of injustice, of innocent people thrown into dungeons, and of the heavy taxes that left villagers hungry. The pain of his people became his own, and with each passing day, his anger grew. One day, Kaveh could bear it no longer. In a moment that would change history, he tore off his blacksmith's leather apron and raised it high, transforming it into a banner of defiance. This simple act was more than a protest. It was a call to arms, a symbol of hope for all those who had suffered in silence. People from every walk of life, farmers, merchants, artisans, and even children, rallied behind Kaveh, inspired by his courage. The streets, once filled with fear, now echoed with the determined footsteps of a people united. Kaveh led them through the city, his apron flag waving above the crowd, a beacon of resistance against the king's tyranny. The revolution that followed was not just a battle of swords and shields, but a battle of spirit and will. Ordinary men and women who had once felt powerless discovered their own strength as they stood together. They found hope in each other and in the leadership of Kaveh, who reminded them that true power lies not in crowns or castles, but in the hearts of the people. The uprising swept through the land, and the people's courage became legend. Kaveh's story is a powerful reminder that even those who seem ordinary can rise to do extraordinary things when they stand up for what is right. Kaveh's rebellion against Zahhak is more than just an ancient tale. It's a timeless lesson. It teaches us that no matter how dark the times or how powerful the oppressor, the courage of one person can ignite the spirit of many. We are reminded that we must always stand up and fight against injustice and tyranny, for it is through unity and bravery that true change is born. Kaveh the blacksmith's revolution lives on as a beacon of hope, inspiring us all to be heroes in our own way. King Jamshid, he was truly known for his wisdom and justice. In the annals of ancient Persia, his name shines like a beacon, a symbol of enlightened rule and visionary leadership. Jamshid was not just a king, He was a legend, a figure whose stories have been passed down through generations, inspiring awe and admiration. His court was a place where poets, philosophers, and sages gathered, seeking his counsel and sharing their knowledge. People from distant lands would travel for days just to witness the fairness of his judgments and the brilliance of his mind. He ruled Persia with kindness, bringing prosperity to the land. Under Jamshid's reign, the fields flourished, cities grew, and the people thrived. He introduced new ways of farming, encouraged the arts, and made sure that no one went hungry. His generosity was legendary. He would often walk among his people in disguise, listening to their concerns and ensuring that justice was served. The land of Persia became a place of peace and abundance, where people of all backgrounds could live in harmony. Jamshid's vision was not just for his own glory, but for the happiness and well-being of all his subjects. Jamshid even possessed a magical cup that could show him the future. This wondrous artifact, known as the Cup of Jamshid, was said to be filled with the elixir of immortality and could reveal secrets hidden from ordinary eyes. With it, Jamshid could foresee dangers, guide his people through troubled times, and make decisions that would benefit generations to come. The cup became a symbol of his connection to the divine, a reminder that true wisdom often comes from looking beyond the present moment and considering the consequences of our actions. But, as time went on, pride eventually corrupted him, and he lost his power. The very gifts that had made Jamshid great became his downfall. He began to believe that he was invincible, that his wisdom and strength were unmatched by any mortal or even the gods themselves. Slowly, he stopped listening to the advice of his counselors and distanced himself from the people he once cherished. The harmony of his kingdom began to unravel, and enemies gathered at the borders. In his arrogance, Jamshid failed to see the warning signs, and eventually he was overthrown, left to reflect on the choices that led to his fall. Jamshid's story teaches us that even the wisest can fall prey to pride, and that, honestly, true power lies in humility. His life is a timeless reminder that greatness is not just about strength or intelligence, but about compassion, self-awareness, and the willingness to learn from others. The legacy of King Jamshid endures not because of his magical cup or his grand palaces, but because of the lessons he left behind. In our own lives, we can honor his memory by embracing humility, seeking wisdom, and remembering that the greatest leaders are those who serve with kindness and an open heart. Zahhak was an evil king who made a deal with the devil. As a result, he had 2 snakes growing from his shoulders. The snakes needed to be fed human brains every day, which made Zahhak incredibly cruel. Zahhak's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of greed and making deals with evil forces. Fereydun was a hero chosen to defeat the evil Zahhak. After a fierce battle, Fereydun imprisoned Zahhak in a cave, freeing Persia from his tyranny. This victory brought peace and happiness back to the land. Fereydun's victory symbolizes the triumph of good over evil and the importance of fighting for freedom. Long ago, in the heart of ancient Persia, a land of breathtaking mountains and vast plains, a terrible war raged on. The people of Persia found themselves locked in a seemingly endless conflict, their hopes for peace growing dimmer with each passing day. The air was thick with tension, and the fate of the nation hung in the balance as families waited anxiously for news from the front lines. The enemy forces pressed ever closer, threatening to overrun the Persian lands and destroy the way of life that generations had cherished. In the midst of this turmoil, the leaders of Persia gathered to seek a solution. It was then that a hero emerged from among them, a humble yet courageous archer named Arash. Known for his unwavering dedication and remarkable skill, Arash stepped forward when others hesitated. He volunteered for a task that would determine the very future of his homeland. The plan was simple, yet daunting. Arash would shoot an arrow from the highest peak, and wherever it landed would become the new border of Persia, ending the war once and for all. The weight of an entire nation rested on his shoulders. But Arash accepted this responsibility without hesitation, driven by a deep love for his people. As dawn broke, Arash climbed to the highest point he could find, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and hope. With the eyes of the nation upon him, he drew his bow, summoning every ounce of strength and spirit he possessed. The arrow soared through the sky, cutting across mountains and valleys, its flight watched by friend and foe alike. The moment seemed to stretch into eternity as the arrow traveled farther than anyone thought possible, carrying with it the dreams and prayers of an entire people. The effort required for such a legendary shot was immense. Arash poured every bit of his life force into the arrow, knowing that this act might cost him everything. As the arrow disappeared into the horizon, Arash collapsed, utterly spent. His sacrifice was not in vain. The arrow landed far beyond anyone's expectations, securing peace and new borders for Persia. Arash's final act was one of pure selflessness, a gift to his people that would be remembered for generations. The legend of Arash endures as a powerful reminder of the values that define a nation: selflessness, patriotism, and the willingness to make great sacrifices for the greater good. His story inspires us to act with courage and compassion, to put others before ourselves, and to remember that even in the darkest times, a single act of bravery can change the course of history. These myths from ancient Persia are more than just old stories. They teach us about courage, kindness, and fighting for what's right. These timeless lessons are just as important today as they were thousands of years ago. So the next time you see a bird, remember Simorgh's wisdom. And when you face a challenge, think of Rostam's strength and fight for what you believe in.